Okay. So if you go to the opportunity object in the sales process, as we're discussing the sales process, if you see the opportunity object here, in the opportunity object, you'll be able to see like, the stages. This is the stage. So in the stage, you can see like, there are like various stages from the pick list. See, these are all the pick list values. So these are all the prospecting qualifications and all that. Even if you want to add, you can just add it and you can reorder it and you can do whatever you want to do. And you can even specify like, hey, what is the probability and all that. Okay.
Okay.
So if you want to just create a new one, you can just create your own, and then you can select like, what is the probability. So these are all the, this is the out of box field. We did not create these stages. This is the out of box field. Okay.
Okay.
So where you can go and put your own probability and you can get the sales process and everything. So you can get it added to which sales process you want to add it. You can even add it. Okay. The opportunity stage. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So with that said, like, we are clear with the sales process and opportunity object, and we embedded the sales process into the record types of the opportunities and all that. So today we are going to see a new thing called the workflows.
Okay.
Okay. So the workflows are very important for any business. Like, for example, I do your work, and after that, where it should go? What is workflow? So basically, it's the flow of the work, right? I did my work, and the work has to go to somebody else, or it has to do something. That piece of work has to do something. So where does the work flows? So it could be even the approval process, or it could be even like, the next stage of that work. So anything like, the same thing that we saw in the sales process, right? So it's switching from the initial stage, the qualifications, to the value propositions, until the deal one, or like, the closing the deal. It's like it's going through the several stages, right? So similarly, like, you have to have the workflow, and that needs to be progressed. So that is the workflow. And in the Salesforce, the workflow is all about like, so okay, so we know that, what is workflow, why do we need workflow, what is the purpose of the workflow we discussed, and what are the things the workflow can do. So workflow needs to have some criteria, right? Like, criteria in sense like, okay, when does this work needs to go to the other person, or when does this work needs to be initiated, based on what criteria. Like, for example, we both are working in the recruitment process. I go and create like, for example, I'm opening up, I'm creating a new employee, right? Or like I'm creating a new position, like, hey, this is this guy Karthik, and then he's going to be employed as a technical architect or solution architect or anything like that, and I'm setting the salary. like when I'm setting the salary, say for example, you are the HR manager, you always needs to be notified, like, via email, like, oh, okay, a new position with the solution architect has been created, or the record has been created, and his salary is like 150 grand, as an example. Okay. So that is the criteria, right? Based on what criteria the work should trigger, the work needs to be triggered to the next stage, or what is that work can do. Okay. Were you able to follow me so far? What is the workflow? Why do we need the workflow? And what is the criteria here that you're talking about?
Yes.
What happened?
Nothing.
Okay. And based on the criteria, we'll be having some actions taken. Okay. Based on the criteria, we're having some actions. Actions will be taken. So what is that actions? There can be only 4 actions basically that is allowed in the Salesforce, like, Salesforce. So we talked about workflow, we talked about the criteria, now we're talking about the actions. This is called validation criteria. And workflow actions. There can be only 4 workflow actions can be taken. 4 actions can be taken out of the workflow. What are those? One, it can create a task, or it can update the field, or it can send email notification, or it can send the outbound message. Okay, let's talk about this. Like for example, when there is a when there is a new work that comes in, okay, I created a employee at the position. Then you have to go and verify it, and then you have to update some fields. So you have to get triggered, right? So the work comes to you. It can be created as a task. Hey, this is the task for Soy, and then Soy can go and do the task, right? Based on the criteria. Criteria is going to be like okay, whenever I create,
Hello.
Are you still with me?
Yeah. Can you say it from workflow actions, please? Okay.
Oh,
That
okay. Oh,
my
you got
connection has
disconnected.
lost. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right. So now we know what is workflow and why do we need the workflow. Okay. So
Okay.
based on the criteria, we'll be triggering the workflow actions. Basically, there are like 4 workflow actions that can be done in Salesforce. The one is it can create a task. The second one is like it can update the field. The third one is like it can send the email notification. And the fourth one is like it can send the outbound message. Okay. So let's talk about each individual. For example, I created a
Okay.
work. I created an employee record or like position record or like what is record now. So anything I created, and after I create, it has to go to somebody else. Like it has to go to Soy for the next stage. Like it could be the approval or anything.
A part of my.
So it needs to be a task for Soy, right? So the task can be created, and then it can be notified to Soy. Hey, you have a task, man. You have to go and do it, right? The second thing is like updating the field. For example, I have a position, or like I have a title, solution architect, and if this title is solution architect, and if he has a salary greater than 130 grand, or like and if he has like this title, I can go and give some additional benefits because he's at the above rank, and I can provide some additional benefits. Such a way I can update the field, right? Based on one field, the other field can be updated. Okay. And the third one is like for example, is the email notification. Whenever I create a position with a $150,000, I should always be it should always be notified to the certain people. Like hey, okay, the new account came in, or new account with the revenue more than 1 million has been coming in. The CEO can be notified, or HR manager can be notified whenever there is a new employee has been created, or whenever there is an employee is updated. Okay. Or especially when the salary is greater than like $50,000, it can be notified. So based on the criteria, you can send the email notifications. The outbound message is something like it's not within the Salesforce or just the email. We have to send a message to the external systems. For example, we are now we have the integrations with the various other systems like SAP or SAP or like any supply chain systems out there. So once you get to know their IP address or their REST call and everything, you can even send the outbound message to the external systems. Okay. So that's purely the developer thing. So these are the things that we can do as part of the workflow actions. Okay. And also the workflow always acts upon the object. Okay. Now we'll also see like, what are the limitations of the workflow. Like for example, the limitation of the workflow is like, you can do only these 4 actions. You cannot do more than that. Say for example, you want to create a record. You are updating that, you are creating a record. Based on that, you have to create another record. You cannot do that because we only have update the field. Okay, so those are the limitations. You cannot update, you cannot create the record. And so, were you able to follow me so far?
Yes, yes.
So, and if you want to, based on the record that you're updating, if you want to do some manipulation, or do you want to update the parent record or the child record, you will not be able to do that. Okay.
Okay.
So you can only do the field update on that particular record that you're working on. Okay.
Okay.
So these are all the limitations that we have it as part of the workflow. So the workflow can be gone advanced with the process builder. The next class I'll teach you, like, what is the process builder and how it can be defined. So we can combine like sales process, workflows, and then the process builder. Okay. So we have completed the sales process and we know what is the validation rules, and we are talking about the workflows now. The next one we can complete the process builder. Okay. All right. So now let's go and create the workflow. Okay. Like I go here. So we're able to do all the hands-on and you're familiar with whatever we learned so far?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I go to the setup and then you just do the workflow here. So these are called the workflow rules. Okay, you can define the workflow and then you can connect to that. See here, it's like the self-explanatory thing. What is workflow? Workflow automates the following types of actions based on your organization process. You can create a task, assign a new task to the user, role, or record owner, or you can do the email alerts, the notifications, email notification, field updates, update the value of the field on your record, and outbound message, send a secure configurable API message to that designed listener. Okay. For example, your workflow can assign the follow-up task to support rep. So, and the one more thing I want to tell you is, like, there are two types of workflow actions can be defined. Like, these are the workflow actions, the trigger. Workflow trigger. One thing is immediate workflow. As soon as you create a record, it can happen immediately. Okay. Immediately it can be triggered. Otherwise, time dependent workflows.
It takes time.
Yeah, time dependent workflows. Say, for example, there is a requirement we even implemented for the HR portal, HR system. And that company has a typical example. They will not give the insurance immediately when they joined. They can get into the company's insurance only after 2 months. So first 2 months, they'll have to take their own insurance. Okay. So if they are stable in the if they are stabilized in the company, and only after 2 months, they will get enrolled into the company's insurance. First initial 2 months, they'll have to take their own insurance. Okay. In that case, like, okay, a profile has been, account, or the employee has been created, this position, this title, this salary, and all that. And exactly that day, so when he's joining date will be one of the field. So based on that field, from 60 days from that field, from that date, that automatically the record will be updated with the insurance policy.
Okay.
Using the field updates. Okay, so it's all automated. They don't have to do anything. It's a time dependent workflows. Exactly 60 days from that particular date of joining, they will get automatically enrolled into the insurance plan. Okay, so this kind of requirements. Or for example, the case is created. The case is still in open state for 7 days. It can escalate to manager. If it is closed, it's fine. If the case is closed, then it will not send the workflow rule, or will not get triggered. If the field is in the open state, what is the status of the case? That will be status field, right? If the case is in open state, then it will send the manager to the, it will send an email notification to the support manager. Based on the severity, you can even based on the severity. If it is a critical ticket, or if it is a severity is high priority, or like high, the severity is minor, you don't have to send an email. The severity, so they can easily catch the support guys and asking, hey guys, this is the severity ticket is, like, the level of priority is severe or critical, and why is it been open for like 7 days? What's going on? So he doesn't have to go to the portal. He can just do his normal work. Email will come automatically if the case is still in the more than 7 days. So it's all like time dependent workflow rules. We're able to follow me with all these scenarios because these are all the things that I experienced in the past with various projects that I worked on.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So let's go and create the workflows now. So here is the workflow rules and everything. Okay. And so if you see here, for example, workflow can assign the task. So I can send the sales management an email when a sales rep qualified for the large deal. Change the owner field on the contract 3 days before it expires. If you have a contract and if it is going to expire, change the owner field. Okay. Trigger an outbound API message to the external HR system. Like, it could be. So we discussed all these things. What is the workflow? What are the workflow? This is sure shot interview. Or I think like when I attended the certification, there was one questions related to this, like actions. Like they'll give the scenario based and they'll say that what type of workflow actions you can use. Okay.
Okay.
So each workflow rule consists of criteria that causes the workflow to run. We already talked about the criteria, right? So here is the criteria, and based on that, which executes the workflow to run. And immediate actions can be taken when the record matches the criteria. For example, if the sales can automatically send email, notifies the account team when the high value opportunity is created. The same thing, when the opportunity is created, if it is of high value, it can immediately happen. That is like immediate action workflow. Time dependent actions that are queued when the record matches the criteria can execute based on the time triggers. For example, Salesforce can automatically send email reminder to the account team if the high value opportunity is open 10 days before the close date. They're setting some example, like they're setting some in the opportunity. They can say like what is the expected close date, right? So 10 days before the close date, the sales team can be notified, hey guys, you have 10 more days to be closed and close the deal, and this is what you need to do. Okay. So you have like 10 more days to be closing the deal, and just a reminder, just be prepared for that, something like that. Email reminder to the account team, like if the high value opportunity is still in open state 10 days before the close date. Before the 10 days, if they closed it, it's okay, like the deal is done. But if it is still in open state and if it has to be closed from 10 days from now, then they will get notified. Okay. Is it all clear? All the workflow rules?
Yeah.
It's very important. Okay. All right. So let's see, like you create a new rule now. Okay, let's take a scenario. Let's come up with a scenario. Let's take let's go and see what is the object that we can take. Let's take a sales
object.
Let's go to even account gauge communications, right? What do they have? Does this guy has annual revenue here, right? Okay. If the annual revenue is more than 100,000, the manager has to be notified. Let's take as an example scenario. Okay. If the annual revenue is more than 1 million or like more than, well, let's take it could be, it doesn't matter, more than 100,000. The manager will be notified. Hey, you got a new account who has the annual revenue more than this. So you it needs some special attention because it's a larger amount. Okay. Let's take that.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Let's go to the setup.
Workflow.
So these are the workflow rules. Okay. These are all related to the process automations. Okay.
Okay.
This comes under the process automation. So we're talking about the workflow actions. You can have these workflow actions. Now we're talking about the workflow rules. We create a workflow rules. And continue. I told you that the workflow rule can be act upon the object. Okay, we are going to act upon the account object now. Okay. The next, and then we create a rule name, like annual notification, something like that. Okay. Okay, all right. This is the evaluation criteria. Okay, we are talking about the evaluation criteria. Evaluation criteria. There are 3 types of evaluation criteria. Okay. Created. So whenever you create the record of that particular object, your workflow will be triggered. The workflow will start running. Okay.
Okay.
Created and updated every time. For example, see, think about it. You are saying that when somebody is creating the employee and they are putting the salary 50,000, notify me. So HR manager has a rule like that. Okay. What happens if somebody goes on updates? Once they create 50,000, they go on update it to 100,000. This will not get, this will be triggered only during the created time. This will be triggered even during the created as well as updated every day. Even if there is a single update on that record every single time, it will get notified.
Okay.
And you have a rule, when the salary is greater than 50,000, you send me the notification. Okay. If they go and if they created and updated, until the salary is 50,000 or more, it will not send notification. So this is like when the criteria is met. It sends notification only when the criteria is met. Manager doesn't care if the salary is 10,000 or salary is 20,000 or salary is 30,000. Whenever the salary is like 50,000, only then he has to be notified. That is the criteria. When the criteria gets applied, they only then send notifications. The evaluation criteria meets. That is why whenever you create a record, you evaluate the rule when the record is created. When the record is created and every time it's edited. Created and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet criteria. When you create it also, it will send the email, it will send the notifications, it will get triggered, or anytime it meets the criteria. After that, okay, for example, let's take an example. Created with 20 grand. It will send the email. Hey, the employee has been created and his salary is 20 grand. And you have a rule only to send email of up to 50,000 if it is greater than 50,000. They are going and again and editing it and then putting 40 grand. Will it send the email notification?
No.
It will not. Yeah, because it is less than 50 grand, right? So it will not send the email notifications. Only if it is, it will not send the email notification. Only if it is more than 50 grand, only then it will send the notifications.
Okay, and I got it. Understood.
Okay, but in this case, it doesn't really matter. There is no involvement in the criteria at all. Every time it is created and then edited, it will keep sending it. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So you can choose whatever you want. Okay. Let's say, for example, let's create created and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet the criteria. And you're telling that, okay, what is the field that you're going to select? What is the field that you're going to select? The field is like going to be all the field of that object will be created, all will be displayed here. Okay. Like for example, annual revenue is our criteria, right? You can say annual revenue equals or greater than or equal to, say 100,000. And similarly, you can even have like multiple. You can even have like multiple conditions and conditions. Okay. All right. So let's save and next. So this is like a workflow rules. Okay. Now you have to define the action. What action you are going to do? See, when we're talking about here, this is the workflow rule we created. What is workflow rules? And this is the workflow, and then evaluation criteria we specified. The next comes the action. Only 4 actions can be performed, right? Out of these 4, what is that you are going to do?
Send email notification.
Yeah, like add workflow action. See here, This is sure short interview question. They'll ask, have you worked on the workflows? What are the actions that is in the workflows? Because every time when you start practicing the Salesforce, if you connect the business requirement, you will always remember, right? So as an admin, these are the things that you'll be doing it. You'll be setting it up, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So so like for example, new email alert. So when you have the new email alert, like for example, you can say like send notification, account send or annual revenue or account send notification. Excuse me. Excuse me. And there is something called email template. You can have a template. You can create. That's a separate concept. That's very simple concept. The only thing is that think of a template. What is a template? It's just going to be a skeleton. Whenever you want to send, you can choose the template and you can send it. It's going to send it in the right format. The template that has. You don't have to create a big message or like put header and footer or anything like that every time. Okay. So you can choose from one of your templates. So here, these are all the templates that is available. Like if the password gets changed, this will be the template. If you forgot the password, this will be the template. Okay.
Okay.
Like I'm just pulling say, go ahead.
These are all out of box templates or just which we have created?
No, these are the out of box templates.
Okay.
The communities or anything. We can even create our own template.
Okay. Okay.
We can even create our own template. Okay. In the email templates, you can go and create our own templates. Okay. And so okay. So like the next thing is like you want to select the users who will be getting the email notifications, right? So if you're saying that this is the user that you need to get past, or you can even put like groups or based on the roles or like anything that you created here, the recipient type, the public group we already discussed, right? Public group, or you can even specify various groups. From there you can pick the users, so your user will change according to your drop down list value. Okay. And then in case if you want to send like additional notifications, like okay, I'm going to send the email notifications for the additional email address. You can even specify the additional email address. Okay. So what will be the from email address, from where it should go? Whatever the user that has in, you can even specify like the email address that is that has the from email address, like the current user email address. That could be the from email address. Okay.
Okay.
You can make this as the default email address. Every time when it comes, you can specify the default email address or anything like that. Okay. All right. So let's say save it. Okay. And I'm saving it. Oh. Okay, so let's go back to the workflow rules. Okay. And this is the workflow rule. So we need to activate the workflow. Okay. Only it will happen. You can only create the actions only when it is activated. Okay. So this was not activated. You need to activate the workflows. You see here, now it is deactivate. We have to activate the workflow. Now the workflow is activated. Okay. So you see here, and you have the workflow actions for this email alert. This is what we sent, right? Accounts and notifications. This is the email alert we created, right? The additional email address, this is what we gave. Okay. So now we activated now. So basically, what happens is like, you can have as many workflows you can have against the object. It's not like you can have only workflow or only one workflow, right? You can have many workflows against the object, right? But you can have only 4 actions. You cannot have more than that. Whatever the actions that is defined, you can have only 4 actions. You cannot have more than that. Okay.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes, yes.
Either you can update the field or send create a task or send email notifications or send outbound message. Only these 4 actions can be done. But you can have multiple workflows for any object. When you're talking about the limitations, there's one more limitation is there is no certain order of the workflow executions. It picks randomly. There is nowhere you can specify that you first trigger this workflow or the next workflow or anything like that. Whatever you created, it just picks the order. So these are the limitations. No specified order to execute the bunch of workflows from the same object. Are you still with me?
Yes, yeah.
Were you able to follow me?
Yeah.
So now let's go to the sales. Now let's get to the sales. Let's go to the account and create a new account. I'm saying like 100,000. Okay. Okay, let's even help like even 200,000. So I save it. It got saved, right? And let's see. You see here. So we chose the random template, like password notifications or like something like that. So that's why it came. We chose the random template and it came from the salesforce.com, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So this is how the workflow rules work, and you can specify the actions and all that. Okay. So I want you to explore this and create a workflow rule, workflow actions, the email notifications. With additional to the email notifications, I also want you to do the field update. Like it's very simple, right? So workflow rules. You can even have like number of actions per rule. This is one workflow rule, right? And I have this is the workflow rule, and this is active. You can even deactivate it here. Say for example, if you want to have this, then you have the immediate actions. You cannot add the time dependent workflows. Either you can have the time dependent or you can have the immediate. You cannot do both. Okay. So you have to deactivate this rule, and then you can have the time dependent. Let's see, like, if you're just going to deactivate this is going to be
deactivated. Here there's no check mark.
Right. Hold on. And yeah, correct. And then this is the workflow rules, and you can add the workflow actions here, and you can add the time trigger. Like, when does it need to get triggered? Like 7 days after, like, the account created date or modified date or expiration date or anything like that. So here you will see only the data object. If you see it clearly, because it acts upon the dates, right? It could be closed date. The drop down will display only the date fields. It will not display anything else. So these are the only 3 date fields that are available in the account. That's why it's saying that, when the account is created date or the last modified date or the SLA expiration date, this is the custom field.
Okay.
Like 10 days before or 10 days after, or like, before or after, you can send the email notifications, right? So this is okay. You can only add the rule when it is deactivate state. You cannot, when it is an active state, you cannot add the rule. That's what I meant to say. Okay. Now we were able to add it. Like if you go back to the rules, if you go back to the rules, and if I'm in the active state, activate, you will not be able to rule. So you cannot add new time triggers to activate this rule. You have to deactivate this rule to add any time triggers. You cannot do at the time when it is activate. That's what I mean to say. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So if you want to have like workflow actions, you had already one workflow actions like account send notifications, right? Email alert, right? If you also want to update the field, like you can go and say like update field update, and then you can specify the like update
or edit.
Update account like SLA expiration date. That's what I remember now. One field. Okay, we are going to update the date. Okay, and then update the date and the field update. So which date we are going to update? Like for example, if you want to update the it doesn't matter any field. These are all the fields we have it here. Okay. Excuse me. So here is the custom fields, right? SLA expiration date. I'm going to update it, and then I can specify based on that. It will give you the fields. Either what is you want to use the formula field to set a new value, or you can leave it blank or anything like that. Say for example, if I'm just going to add like the customer priority, then it's a pick list options. Okay. So you can go and say like hey, specify the value that needs to be displayed in the pick list. So this is the priority.
Okay.
So you are updating the field with certain value whenever this happens. This is the field updates.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
So I want you to evaluate, because the workflow is a very important concept, and the advanced workflows are a little bit outdated now, and then people are started using the process builder that I'll be talking about next class. So I saw you said you have some work at 8 o'clock, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we have like 5 more minutes. Okay. So yeah. So you know what is workflow as a recap, and what are the evaluation criteria, and what are the actions that can be taken. 4 actions. So the actions can be triggered based on the conditions, or it could be the immediate actions, or it could be the time dependent actions. Okay. So the same thing, if you go back to the workflow rules, I showed you the update fields and as well as the notifications, right? Email notifications.
Yes.
And if you go here, you can even add. The reason why they are not letting to edit the time dependent is like, when it is active, you don't want to create a rule that going to happen in a minute or 2 minutes, right? It's going to cause a conflict, right?
Yes.
So they need some time to get it persisted in the data and the database, and then they will trigger. So you have to deactivate it. They'll deactivate it, then you have to set it up, and then you have to activate it. Like say for example, if you want to have like new task, same thing. The task is going to be another object, right? I mean, so you're just act upon the account object. The task is like it's assigned to the user. What is the task that you're going to assign to the user? You can select, and then you can select the user here, right? And then you can put your comment, hey, I have created this task for you, can you do these and all these things, and you can put the subject and everything. When it is due, you can set the due date and all that, and then you can set the status, whether it's stated or in progress, or what is the current state of the thing, and then you can set the priority, and then this new task will be created against that user, and the user can log into the dashboard and they can see it. Any questions?
No.
Is it all clear? All the workflow actions, evaluation criteria, time dependent workflow actions, and immediate workflow actions, and those 4 different types of workflow actions that we can do.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. So I'll let you go, and then we'll meet in the next class about the process builder. Okay.
Okay. When is the next class again?
Are you available tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do. Okay. Let's do one tomorrow or in the afternoon.